scenario, we see that it's pretty obvious what happened. The USA has broken up. Now, in real life, if the USA breaks up, this would not be a very good thing. So, the USA is a very strong country, and it ensures the independence of several European countries and several just countries in the Middle East. Actually, not Europe. Some of the European countries. I don't know. In NATO, I guess, but I don't think Europe is entirely reliant on the U.S. So, like some of the Middle East kind of is though. But now they're gone. So the first thing that we see happening would probably be, I would say, it'd probably be unification. So some of these areas, they're not very rich, so they decide it's best to unite together. So New England plus New York and I guess New Jersey, they all unite into New England. Pennsylvania's thinking of joining this because it's a very prosperous union now because it has New York City at the heels of it, and they want this too. They want that. Now that New England plus New York and New Jersey has unified, there are fewer places that are looking to unify. So currently, I do not believe that very many of these places could survive on their own. So I believe that we would probably see a Deep South Union with Mississippi and Alabama. So doesn't that look amazing on a map? No, it really doesn't. Then probably I'll do this actually. Probably this for a GLU. Probably this for like a GLU without the others joining yet because some of them really just don't like them. Yeah, some of them don't like each other. Like Ohio's not going to be joining this unless invaded, so it's not like because they really hate Michigan. So not like they're going to join this. But we're about to see something. We're about to see our first war, actually. And what's it going to be? North Carolina versus, I think you can guess, South Carolina. So now you might say something along the lines of, but they would just probably unify. No, they wouldn't. At least I don't think so, because I lived in North Carolina most of my life so far, and we don't really like the South Carolinians. So I think that there would be a war. And this could escalate. You could get Georgia involved, maybe Virginia. But we're not going to do this. We're not going to do that. What I will do, though, is this. I will do Tennessee, though. So North Carolina is like, because it's two powers. So yes, this isn't going to go very well for them. Except it is, because North Carolina is a pretty powerful state. It's a lot more powerful than South Carolina. So they're going to just try to push on South Carolina because that was their main goal here. They might lose some lands to Tennessee here because they're not really going to try to take out them. So they're just going to try to push up and try to take out South Carolina as fast as they can, which is exactly what they do. So they push in. I don't know the capital of South Carolina. I know more about Europe than I do about my own country. But they push in. I'm guessing that these lands are the more good lands, but they're just going to keep pushing in, and North Carolina is going to get kind of like wrecked up here with Tennessee because their lands are not up there, so they're going to have to do a slight withdrawal from South Carolina, which is going to involve this area being cut off and pushed into, and South Carolina pushing in, because South Carolina is not weak by any measures, state-wise, but it is going to help them get through to the Tennesseans, or whatever you call it yourselves, and they are going to push into there. But now they're going to focus more on South Carolina because they're pushing in. They push them out of their important lands and continue their push in from the north. Now, this war would probably last a bit longer than what I'm purveying, but I would say that eventually South Carolina would probably fall. But that's just what I think. Peace treaty, we see that Tennessee gains land. They had about this before, I think. North Carolina had like all of that land, so now Carolina is mad. Yes, but yeah, so they are now united, and that's what matters. But do you want to know what also would make things united? I can name a few things. One of them is an invading force. Right, so Texas is not gonna do great here. Mexico pushes up into Texas because they had no warning. I don't know if Mexico could realistically invade a country right now. It's a bit unstable. Oh, I'm Mexican now because I live like there in Texas. I'm now a Mexican. Wait, what? That sounds wrong. So Texas is a pretty strong state. I don't know about militarily, but these two states are like Arizona and New Mexico are not doing great. Arizona has like a few important cities, but I think they're all now in control of Mexico. And all of the states are getting like really sad that their friends are losing, so they're all like supporting Texas and New Mexico. And one of them joins this war. California joins this war. Now, California and Texas, the duo that nobody ever wanted because it would never work. So California, it's basically a surprise attack. So they managed to grab all of Baja for now because of like the surprises, except for a few Mexican pockets that are just scattered around the peninsula, still fighting. But this causes a retreat in Mexican forces from parts of because like these things aren't very strong. But Texas manages to knock them out of their important southern lands down here. It manages to push slightly in to Mexico. So now Mexico is scared, and all of the pockets that are in here have now been destroyed. Sadly for them, Arizona was never gonna last. They're not. I don't think they're capable of withstanding an invasion like this. So Arizona goes ahead and collapses. New Mexico is about to have the same fate, but since it's closer to Texas, then since it's closer to Texas, it has more. It can survive longer because it's closer to major Texan city, so they should be fine for now. But yeah, California pushes more into Arizona, but Arizona has like collapsed. So yes. California continued to push devastatingly to Mexico, and this is when we see another state get involved. We see Florida intervene on the side of its friends, and they make a few landings here in the Yucatan. So I don't know how powerful Florida is navally. I know they're a pretty economically powerful state, but that doesn't really mean powerful. And I don't think that the states could do this, but in this scenario, they have decent militaries and they're slightly buffed, you could say. So they're taking on Mexico. Texas is, I guess, liberating these areas of Mexico. I don't know what's happening over there with the cartel right now, so I can't really comment on it. But parts of Mexico start rebelling, I would say. So I think Mexico City is like there. They have a pretty strong hold on that though. So parts of Mexico start like rebelling against the Mexican government because it's a bit corrupt right now. So large chunks have like started rebelling and like breaking away. Like this part near Guatemala breaks away. This part in Guatemala breaks away. So now Mexico is not doing well, and all of the Mexican forces that were in Texas and all the Mexican forces that were in New Mexico are gone, but not before New Mexico also collapses from the war because their economy just can't handle it. So Texas goes up around the Rio Grande, which I think is there, and takes those pieces because the state collapsed. It's not even like a state anymore or a country, whatever. They end up taking back all of that land and start pushing more and more into Mexico until Mexico just can't handle it anymore, and the entire Mexican government gets entirely overthrown and they surrender. So now we look at this peace treaty. Since New Mexico and Arizona did collapse, the Mexican government did take New Mexican government did take some of their land, like in California, took some of the land of Arizona, and they took all of Baja California, obviously. Texas took a bordering province down in the south, and their claims on New Mexico up from the Rio Grande River. And Florida didn't really get anything besides the Mexican islands that are around here. But this is a united, I guess you could say, Central American state. That doesn't include all of them, but this includes Belize, Guatemala, and so it has like a few states. So like if you look at the states, be like the Mayan state, the Belize state, the Guatemala state, and the Mexican state. So it united there. And I basically just did this because it looked good on a map. And so what happens next? So Texas now wants more land. So what do? They go ahead and declare war on all of these nations. Now, these nations aren't very strong, so Texas can just literally just push up, take the lands it wants. It could just take, all of Oklahoma. Oklahoma is just knocked out because Texas is a lot stronger now because of all the New Mexican lands. So now they're going up and taking all of the desired lands that they want. They completely knock out Colorado. And Wyoming just decides to leave this war because they know they're not going to win. So now we have a superpower. Treaty, we see Texas reclaiming all of its lands that it used to own back when it was a Mexican state. I think no. Back when it declared independence from the Texas Republic, this was all the lands that it held, which that's a lot of land. Like legitimately, that's a lot of land. I bet California wish they could have all of their land. That'd be like all of that. California was massive. But California does want to do one thing, though. There's one thing California wants to do, and that is declare war on Nevada. So they want Nevada because they just do. So they're just going to go ahead and push down towards Vegas, take Vegas, win war. Goodbye, Nevada. Taking away has given one country one state of a different country or province a few ideas going. Now Canada is like, so they decide it's in their best interest if they just declare war on Quebec, which I mean, like, I guess you do you. I got nothing to say about that. So they've lost one of their most important parts, so they've declared war on Quebec. But some U.S. states see this as an opportunity. Number one being New England. Number one being New England. As well as, this isn't gonna go well. Let's see, what do they have? They have, those are part of the GLU. They have Ohio, Illinois. But is this gonna go well? So the answer, surprisingly, is no. Canada is just getting absolutely bodied by all these U.S. states because there's just so many of them, and these are like pretty powerful states here up north. Like, it's Michigan. Michigan's a pretty powerful state, and Canada is slowly losing like all of its valuable land. Ohio is dead. Ohio is just losing. They've lost Cleveland. They get like entirely pushed out. Canada gets pushed out of its most, parts that are actually like good, which causes Canada to they lose all of their habitable land, which causes Canada to basically just collapse in on itself. All those islands are independent and red now, I guess. Which causes, Indiana knows it's screwed. So, I guess let's look at the peace treaty. We see the realization of all that New England could have ever wanted. The Great Lake Union, or the GLU, Quebec, and Vinland Independence, or whatever, Newfoundland and Labrador. I believe Cascadia is the name of this, as well. And that's about it, as well as Canada being just a little rump state now. I think they're named they're probably named Hudson now, because all they really have is the Hudson Bay. So there's not much that they can really do here. And there's not many small states left in the USA, except for a couple. But now, the spunky little powerhouse known as Florida decided it's time to do something. And the thing that they decide it's time to do is invade all of the Deep South. They move in and take out some pretty important parts of Georgia and stretch along the coast. And Louisiana just kind of nopes out of this because they didn't really want to be here anyways. They're just gonna surrender. And this thing is not stable at all, so it surrenders. And Georgia is just, Georgia's not doing great, so they're just gonna goodbye. And see Florida expanding into Georgia, and Georgia's lost all the coast as well as this abomination there. But something happens. Someone fires first. I don't know, in this demilitarized zone, someone fires first. But in this scenario, we're going to say it's Texas. Texas and California are now at war. Now, who joins this war? Okay, so first we'll do Texas' side. Florida, Carolina, the GLU, as well as Quebec, Louisiana, and these two, because I think they're puppets at this point, as well as Virginia. And on the side of California, we have Cascadia, New England, Canada. All those islands are just independent now, as part of like Greenland, I think. So we don't need to call those in. As well as these two, because they're not puppets yet. Arkansas to come get Texas. And so these two are not in the war yet, but one more country joins, which is Mexico. So this is a pretty even war, but we're just gonna do it more. Tennessee obviously joins on the opposite side of Carolina, West Virginia on the opposite side of that, Maryland and Delaware, smallest state. No, Connecticut. As well as, so most of the states surrounding, so Iowa doesn't really like the GLU very much, and so these appear. I would say Kansas would side with Texas, probably Nebraska too, but the rest would not. I don't think the Dakota. Actually, I feel like the Dakotas would be fighting themselves. So we'll do to the north on this side and the south on this side. Missouri could go by the ways. I'll give them to the red team, but the remaining one, Kentucky and these two, will go to the blue team. So now this is an all-out war in what we've done so far. So we'll color it like this. So they're both basically invaders, and this is the same kind of stalemate thing that happens here with why am I forgetting the name? I think Utah. I think the name's Utah. So this happens. Up north, the puppets aren't gonna fare very well, so they start losing ground here. In Texas starts getting flanked in the back, which causes removal of troops from the surround area. Pushes in, cuts off Texas from the rest of, I guess, Texas. Yeah, so now Texas is pulling some troops up north to come fight here. They break through, encircle this, take through, but this does cause more advance on the front lines here in this puppet state, as well as in Utah. So Texas is doing pretty good. Over here, we see this just die. Yeah, it wasn't gonna last. Georgia put up a bit more of a fight, but with both Carolina and Georgia and Florida crashing in on it, it's not gonna go well. Same for Tennessee. Carolina decided it's time for them to get their land back, as well as more, and they push further into Tennessee. Now, this Tennessee isn't actually crippled here, so they're gonna last longer. Right now, the engagements are going here because so they have a bit of disputed lands, so they get cut off from their other part of the country, and this part slowly starts falling. But you have Quebec, which is here, so they start going in to try to get their claims on this land over here, which New England just took forcibly. So they go straight in, as well as New England going down after New England and Maryland and Kentucky and West Virginia and on Virginia, which North Carolina stabilizes the front line about there. Their main they're dealing with Arkansas now. Arkansas is basically just a roadblock. They're not going to last very long. But Texas isn't even helping at all here, so it's just Louisiana and probably Missouri too. But Missouri also has to worry about their top flank, except they don't because the GLU's here, and they're helping with this flank right here. I would say that this part is a bit dead, so they're gonna keep moving through this because it's Cascadia and another. So they weren't gonna last very long because they get pushed in as well as the GLU. They get pushed into here. And they push into the GLU, cutting them off from this area up here. So now this area is almost completely cut off. All they need to do is just put pressure here. So that's what they do. They start rounding it and going through this strait. And if they can cut that off, that's basically it for this entire half, and Quebec will be cut off. And these are some of the bloodiest battles. It goes like back and forth and back and forth. However, eventually a front line gets established. This is the city right here that needs to not be taken. So they move forward and make a little flank, but it's not very refined. So they get kind of encircled and destroyed out here, which causes not good stuff. So as they're slowly inching around this coast, they're getting pushed back in this front right here. But this front is going extremely well, and they're starting to send campaigns over to the side, which is starting to make it so that they're not doing great. So now their main priority is to keep them off the city, but also this area here, and it's not going well. They're advancing here because of all the pressure being put on the city, so everything's not going very well for the GLU. Now they push these in two and disconnect them, working on this front over here, but it's not enough as they get resupplied over here and start running up their front line, and they're starting to get pushed, and the city is almost captured. They're trying to push away, but it's not working very well. They push down the coast here, but what they respond with that is pushing here, and over, connecting with this line over here, and eventually it is taken. This is a massive win for the blue team, as this part is now going to be in disarray and slowly get taken over, which is very good for New England. So now they're pushing more and more through this area, and there's not really much they can do. There's still areas going between here, so another area they had to get to is there. But as they push through the mainland of Michigan, it's not looking great for the GLU as they begin to crack. And even Iowa manages to push them out of their side of the country, as well as getting back here. And this area starts not being good, except for here, which is doing good, and Nebraska tries its best to push in, as well as some GLU units, but the GLU is cut off from this. But the GLU is cut off from this, so these two places are doing better now. And the GLU is cut off from these two places here, until they can do this, which needs supplies to come through. They managed to take out all of this, but the GLU is not doing great. So Quebec is now full sending directly directly at New England, trying their best to take it out. So they're full sending, like they're sending everything that they have straight at them, ambushing this flank, cutting it off, and taking some of these areas back. Not connecting their areas back yet, though. But the blue team responds to this by pushing in further and cutting off this last support section. So now Quebec is entirely cut off from all the places that would support it. So now it's not in a great position. So now it focuses on its best and trying to reclaim all these positions and tries its best to reconnect, which it does. But now these supply lines are very thin. So now all of the troops that were down here, you see them? Yeah, they're up here now. Now they're pushing rapidly in and cut off this area again. Now Quebec is royally screwed as the GLU loses most of its important land and starts to capitulate. All of the area up here is mostly pushed back until most of the coast that is the important cities here in the GLU are not good anymore. The GLU manages to hold on its front in Iowa with the help of a few others. Arkansas gets taken out. Tennessee wasn't going to last very long, and they start pushing in on Kentucky, but they don't push too far because they don't want to deal with what's up there. But since all those troops are up there, they can now move back into Virginia and take back Virginia, which is good. So they take back all of Virginia and manage to knock out most of West Virginia and push slightly into New England. So now New England's buckling just a little bit, but they still have most of their power left, which the GLU does not. So the GLU basically just loses all of its land that was there, and everything that's up here in the GLU basically just surrenders. The only things that are in there is the Quebec troops. They push further in here, but things are just not going well for both teams as New England is being flanked from the sides and being cut off. Right now it seems like the blue team has a slight advantage, but that could go either way. Texas starts getting pushed back up here, but Texas responds to this by breaking through some of the lines that are here, reconnecting with some of this land, and pushing in through what was once Wyoming, pushing into this, and making South Dakota capitulate, which causes North Dakota to be not the GLU, which causes most of North Dakota to be liberated, except for some areas. Canada or... Now, this looks a bit even with the sides. Florida's doing pretty good. The Carolinas are doing pretty good. Texas is doing pretty good. California's doing great, as well. So is Cascadia. Everything's going pretty good for them. So I think the best thing for them to do is probably to quit while they're ahead. So that is exactly what we're going to see happen. This war is going to end in a draw. Final treaties that we've done. As you see here, this is about the stalemate where the war was, and this peace treaty mostly shows what happened there. Goodbye Arkansas, goodbye Utah, and goodbye Montana, even though, yeah, they were on your side. OU was like completely disbanded, so yes, New England lost quite a bit of land to Quebec. So yes, the GLU still has some lands, but like they have like they don't have much. They don't have practically anything. Cascadia got a lot bigger. So did California. California has a bunch of land now, as well as Texas. Texas has a lot of land now. I think they gained land from this war. Yeah. They annexed their puppet here to take their land. Nebraska took that. Iowa didn't get in any trouble here. Arkansas got erased, so yeah, that's basically it for the peace treaty. Anyways, thanks for watching, and bye. Don't forget to subscribe.